Good evening, good people. This is your host, Calvin Anderson, with the Checking With podcast. Another special guest who this individual has trained and worked in both the USA and the UK and has worked with people across the lifespan in healthcare settings, schools, hospitals, and charities, with people who have anxiety, panic, depression, low self-esteem, drug addiction, emotional dysregulation, anger, self-harm, post-traumatic stress, including flashbacks and disassociation. I mean, I could keep going with this individual.
Yeah, you could stop now, Calvin.
And there we have our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Dr. Saira Khan.
Thank you, Calvin, otherwise just known as Saira. But yes, thank you.
Saira. There we go. I mean, see, she even interrupted that's the kind of individual she's very just to the point and funny and hilarious too, but knowledgeable at the same time. How are you, dear?
Calvin, after that beautiful introduction, I hope I live up to people's expectations.
Oh no, you definitely will. I have no doubt. No doubt at all. Thank you for coming to the podcast.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. It's so odd because we're always like ships in the night passing each other, chanting tunes. And so it's nice to get a chance to really speak to you at,
Yes.
deep capacity and for more over a longer period of time. Have a nice chat.
Yes, definitely. It's again like she said, we're always crossing paths like high and by. So now we get to sit and speak. We've had multiple conversations before today. And I guess the one thing I would love to speak on with you before we get into like the deep stuff is what made you want to become a therapist? Like what was the driving force that said, hey, this is the pathway, this is where I want to go, and this is where I'm gonna be for the foreseeable future.
Right. So, Calvin, there are times where I think, why did I choose this job for a living? Because the emotional drain and stress. Um, but then when I sit back and reflect and I talk to my loved ones, they're like, there's no way you would have done anything else. So I think, I don't know whether it's a calling or, I think a lot of us come to this field because of things we've experienced or situations or life has put us in certain situations where we it's important to us, this emotional connection and having this space and having these skills. So I'll just say it's probably a combination of life experience, personality, and I've always been somebody who's drawn to being a support, a helper. Um, in fact, I think so. I just think this was what was meant to be, and that's the beauty of. I'm so blessed to be in this job because it is exactly my calling. I can't believe that I get paid to do this,
Mhm.
although it is really hard work. That being said, like, but to begin with,
Yeah.
because we carry a lot. But at the same time, I don't think I could imagine anything else. But okay, now I feel like I'm going all over the place, Calvin. But
You okay?
yeah, but why I went into it, I would say it's from life experience. And, growing up, there was not a lot of knowledge or emphasis in our era about mental health. So people were wondering, what is this person doing? What is this field? What is it about? And now here we are in about to be 2025, and I feel like things have completely shifted for the new generation, which is wonderful. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel also lucky to have been in this transition point.
Mm, that's so powerful. Before I comment on what you just said, how many times has a client got your name wrong?
But, probably I suspect they just weren't brave enough to say my name. So, well done you for giving it a go. I have a feeling, yeah, I think most of them probably avoid saying my name until pretty far down the line. So, and then but I don't mind at all. Maybe it's because I grew up in the West and people are always didn't really know how to pronounce my name. And I myself am not great with names, the full disclosure. So I completely get it. So don't worry.
How do you tell them what your name is like? Because I'm assuming when they call you, they may say something and you want to say, "Oh no, it's pronounced."
Right. So I always use the same little trick because this is what helps me when I struggle with people's names is
Yeah.
like a mnemonic or something. So I say Saira, like psychologist,
Okay.
and that tends to stick. But even then, I actually prefer people asking me, and just yeah, we just eventually it'll stick.
Yeah, because you saw me and how I struggled. So yeah, but thank you for that. I want to touch back on when you mentioned about becoming a therapist, and the first thing you said was it's emotionally taxing.
Mm. Mhm.
And it's so interesting that you started with that specific thing. Tell me, Sarah, I was when it gets to that point when you can feel the weight of everything that you've been carrying from a client or clients for the week, what is the best way to, I don't want to say dump because that sounds very unprofessional, but how do you lessen the load that comes when carrying?
Yeah, I might say shift the mindset
Okay.
or shift the internal mood, maybe. Um, I think because of the level sometimes of you can't help when you're with people. We're in this job because we care. So we feel things. It would be if we didn't, it would be weird. It would not it wouldn't be effective.
Yeah.
The whole point is to attune. And frankly, that's why we do the job because and if it's that attunement, listening, caring, and so of course we care. And I think it's about knowing our limits. And that's the hard part with the job is there's always this tension. We live in this system where we have to earn money by seeing people to do what we love. Um, and there's just always this balance that we have to do about how much we can take on, how much not, and then the pressures of trying to be a member of society and have look after ourselves as well. And we have to look after ourselves so that we can look after other people.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't have any sage guiding wisdom, Calvin. I just think it's just something I mean, personally,
Yeah.
it's always just being aware of it. And one thing I do is I have this heart rate monitor on an app called Welltory, and heart rate variability is linked to emotional regulation and well-being. So I monitor my heart rate variability, um, and it tells me it's linked to to the emotional load that we're carrying actually. So I can see what's impacting me or not, and I will manage my day based on that. So that's a little
Hello,
something.
nugget.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that particular thing in terms of the heart rate being connected to the regulation of our emotions, even though it definitely makes sense. But I don't think I've heard it from someone before. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was making me think now.
Yeah, heart rate variability, this is really key. If you look into that, there's also something called heart math,
Hmm.
where um, it helps people develop that calm, regulated state. So in the trauma work I do, um, being in that state and knowing that felt sense in the body is really important. And it's sometimes we don't know until we have to know the signs. They're very subtle. And once you start, it's biofeedback, looking at the heart rate variability and then paying attention to the sensations in your body. You start to learn you start to get better at looking after yourself and knowing your limits.
Knowing our limits. I wish I knew mine, but yeah.
Calvin, there's something about us therapists. We just like to work all the time. We're givers. We're just do.
Yeah, we don't like to rest, do we?
Multitasking. I mean, look at you doing a podcast. Here I am on the podcast.
It's true. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I wonder where that comes from, though, in terms of always going beyond our limits and pushing the needle, so to speak. Yes, we're in a position where we are able to facilitate spaces for people and provide a space where people can fully divulge how they're feeling and what they've been carrying for so long. But I don't know. Maybe for me, I've always not known I've had limitations. So now being in a position as a therapist like you, I just want to go as far as I can, just so I can be of assistance. I can be of value to someone who finds me on LinkedIn or whatever sites we're running, says, hey, I want to do a session with you. I'd like us to work together. So I think that's where it comes. I think my need to want to be able to help or guide is what makes me want to go past my limitations at present. So yeah,
Calvin, I think it sounds like you, like me, you really like the work.
love to work.
Yeah. So so then there's always that joy you get when you see somebody progressing and you can help someone. It's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling.
Yes,
And the other beauty of our job is that we can do multiple things, like this podcast. Um, and otherwise, it will be we if we didn't do that, we would just be doing the one-to-one, which is great. But sometimes it's nice to mix it up.
definitely. Definitely. How do you mix it up?
Good question, Calvin. This is where the burnout can happen. How do I mix it up? Um, well, I do a group, so I do find group work is a bit different than the one-to-one.
Yeah.
So once a week, I do a group, um, and sometimes I facilitate mindfulness groups, which are a very different skill set than the trauma work I do in my day-to-day. And I find actually facilitating those groups very restorative because I'm leading practices, and it's a wonderful way to do a different type of job. The same helping people, but it's a different skill set.
Yeah.
Um, I also write a lot. I have some projects that I'm working on.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm a little bit political, Calvin. So I'm a little bit of a rabble rouser, so I don't know what the right term is. So there's a lot of things I'm trying to improve because our job is about, at the heart of it, it's about helping people who've been harmed.
Yes.
And so, which is an important part of the job, but a bigger part of the job is looking at the systems that get people there. And I do feel we are political entities. So how do we channel that, what we see in the one-to-one, how do we channel that for larger change?
Yeah.
And so there's different things I do as trustees as part of a charity or research groups, or trying to make change in certain organizations. But it's kind of like moving the Starship Enterprise. It's like these, so things go on for years, and who knows if anything will come out of it, Calvin, but some people have got to try, don't they?
Have to try. Have to try. So are you telling me that you're writing a book, or is it publications, or what is it that you're writing?
There are some things in the works. Let's leave it at.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
More than happy. Well, when it is released, please, I would love to have the first exclusive to go through it with you and explore it.
Of course. If anyone reads it, I'll be thrilled. So,
I'm definitely gonna read it. Definitely gonna read it. I wanted to ask you because I did introduce you as doctor.
yes.
Was that always something that you wanted to strive towards? And now that you've reached, or now you have that title, now you have that new level of access, what is the next thing to achieve for you?
Right, Calvin. Okay, so uh, here I go getting political. But
Please.
yeah, being a woman of color, people take you much more seriously if you have doctor in front.
Talk on it.
Yeah, and so part of my career has been about getting every qualification that I could,
Yeah.
so that people could say I'm credible. And I don't know if everybody has to go through this lengths, but that is something I felt like, especially being not growing up in the UK and being a bit of an outsider. I was an outsider in the US, a bit of an outsider in the UK. Um, so it really is about building a foundation where where you're credible. And that takes time, effort, and work. So, and the more I learn academically, I love that. It's like a bit of Sherlock going in, and there's so much to learn about mental health. Um, I just keep going. But that being said, actually, my goal is we have something in mindfulness with striving mind.
Yeah.
We're often striving. And actually, my goal for the next year is to move more into being and less striving. Based on everything I just told you, like all the striving I did,
Yeah.
it's time to just be, yeah, being versus striving. And that's something to let go of, actually, not work towards.
How hard is it to let go of striving?
Ooh, well, probably that's probably something I've adapt. That was my adaptation to life. So, and I think that is part of the capitalist system we live in. It's always about doing, achieving, obtaining. Uh, so it's deeply ingrained. So I think it's a life stage, maybe. I don't know. I'm an older woman now. Who knows? But it's more about being and giving back and being connected, and
Mm.
thinking about the not just me anymore. So there's something about being and thinking about what brings meaning now and connection and change on a larger level as part of Earth, planet Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Has the journey of
Ellen, you probably don't know what to say to that. I've gone.
no, you're too funny, No, I think it's because I think that's something that everyone can relate to in terms of striving to be something and striving to attain, all the credentials that you mentioned. And then having that stage of, what, I've reached a very, very high level now. Let me now just be, let me now just be someone rather than strive to become someone. Let me just be me. Let me just enjoy life. Let me enjoy what I've worked for.
Calvin, exactly. And let me actually be present because people ask me for tools and techniques, and definitely there are there.
Yeah.
But the most powerful one is just being present. And that's why I'm so drawn to the mindfulness. It's actually just being and attuning and paying attention. Um, there's just not many opportunities for that in the lives we have, I think. Yeah. So fast paced.
Even more so now, right?
Mm, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just being. What would you say to someone who has heard what you just said and they're saying to themselves, how do I just be now? Even though I haven't walk the pathway that you have, how can I just be for me? What would you say?
I think there's some value in the striving mode.
Definitely.
It's not about giving it up.
Yeah.
It's about making pockets of being because it's restorative.
Yeah.
All right. If we look, this is what helps. This is what brings balance. I mean, if we look at animals in the wild, they have a big meal, they lay down, and they take a nap for a little while. It's like we need to just rest. We need to restore. We need to be nourished, and that is just being. And the way the world is set up, that's very hard to do. So I don't think we should just be, because that sounds very passive, and that we're just accepting things happening to us.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think it's something that we need inside to restore, recharge. So where can we put in those moments or those pockets of time?
Pockets of time. Thank you for ultimately correcting me and sharing that, because I think that's so important, just in terms of someone taking that stage and that leap of just being, and what that looks like and what that should feel like for the individual. So thank you.
Right. Well, but Kevin, definitely didn't feel like I was correcting you there. I think part of it is my own learning too, that no matter how much credentials I get or what I do, I don't need to prove myself anymore. Yeah, I will just be me, and it's enough. It's enough. Because I see a lot in mental health space where at the end of the day, all these skills, I've done enough of them that I can see they all lead to the same place. It's just which tool do we pick up, which one. We're artists and we all have our own tool set. I don't think one is above. I think there are some that are probably better than others, but it's about how you use it. And so I don't need to do another training. You start to see they just say the same thing in a different term.
Yeah.
Given
No,
me gold.
it's true. No, it's true. No, you know what's interesting? I think for me, because I've always been a person who, uh, in my younger days, I was always someone who didn't want to get things wrong. So when I did say to you, thank you for correcting me, I know that came from a place of, in terms of, I just want to make sure that what I say is along the same lines of what you're saying.
No, that's the other thing I've learned is I'm not perfect. It's like, and it's okay. And I'm human just like everyone else. And we don't always get it right. And we're just all trying our best. So, um, yeah. And that's where this work is hard because it's so delicate and people respond so differently. And you never know. You say things to somebody and you never know how it's going to land. You just
Yeah.
cross your fingers and hope that it's, yeah, it's hard, it's delicate, and, the last thing you wanna do is harm anyone.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so we're all trying our best, so, and that's all I can do.
Talk to me on, I guess this is a topic you've discussed, coercive control.
Ooh, it's a heavy topic, Calvin.
Is it possible to take us in lightly into that?
Um, one of the things I realized as I became more, uh followed this mental health path,
Yeah.
the impact of our relationships around us and what can happen if we don't, because we are social beings
Yeah.
and attachment and attunement is so important. And the people around us have a huge impact on us. Um, so I started to see some patterns and people were struggling. And sometimes it was the body saying something's not right about what's going on around them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the body gives us information.
It does indeed.
Yeah. So I guess what I'd say is part of is understanding someone. It's not just looking at them as an individual. It's looking at the dynamics of what's happening around them in the family system, what's happening around them in the community, and what's happening on a larger scale. And all these things feed into our mental well-being. Was that a gentle intro, Calvin?
That was so gentle. Thank you. I guess the further thought from that is, as you spoke about the body giving signals, what signals does the body give when it knows or starts to feel like, okay, I'm now in this space of coercive control. I can now feel like I'm not operating normally, or I don't feel as if I'm operating from myself, but there's some other entity that's now entering my space. What are the signals, would you say?
Um, Calvin, that's I guess if somebody's not feeling right, emotionally,
Yes.
I think there's always a reason there. Uh, so it's about figuring out, well, why might it be there? And in that process, it could be like when you start to look for patterns about when people are feeling a certain way, or whether that be angry or sad or panicked, or fear. Um, then when you start to look at what's around, you start looking at what's linking up to the emotional experience, it starts to unravel. So I don't think it's always clear. And in some cases, it's very nuanced and it might be in multiple things. So I don't think there's a one answer I can give you. But
Okay.
I would say our body is giving us signals and it's important we find out, well, why is this happening? I'll give you one example. I worked with somebody who it ended up that it was a coercive relationship.
Hmm.
And the whole time they were being lied to, but they didn't know. And I don't think people always know. I don't think it's clear. I don't
Yeah.
think people fall into these situations because um, something's wrong with them. I think it's very hard. I don't think it's possible to know until you're in it.
Yeah.
Way. So this person didn't know they were being lied to, and the entire time they were struggling with weird autoimmune difficulties. And the minute they separated, those disappeared. So it's something's happening. The body is giving us clues when something's not right. It could be anxiety, it could be low mood,
Yeah.
it could but something will present, because something's not healthy there.
Yeah. Okay. I have like a two-part question for you. What makes a person, I guess, operate with coercive control? I hope I'm saying it correctly. Well, what is it that, I don't know, pushes them to now operate in that way with another individual or a group of people? I don't want to just limit it to one person, because you said something so key to me when you said we have to understand the environment that we're in. And when you said that, I saw not just the spatial aspect or the architectural design, but more so the individuals that occupy that space for the person too. I'll start with that question first. If you could take me into that, or take us into that, please.
Yeah, Calvin, I'm just gonna say this is a huge area, and I definitely am not gonna say that I know everything here, but I can give an answer based on my experiences.
Please, that would be great.
So, with my thinking is that there is a whole group of people, um, are transmitting and carrying on intergenerational trauma that they may not be aware of, that's become normalized. patterns that have just existed, and somebody needs to do the hard work of saying, hang on, this isn't okay anymore. We need to change it.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's there's a small group of people that it's a different story and there's something else going on, and they're not going, and those people with the intergenerational trauma, if they decide to do the hard work of changing it, um, they can transform, become something else, and make it something else. And then there will be some that it's just too hard for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then there's another subgroup of people, a very small group, where I don't know what's happening there, Calvin, but I don't think it's possible to make a therapeutic change, like something very deeply ingrained, um, that it's just too deep. And those people usually don't come to therapy. So, and uh, but that is a very small group of people. And why do they behave this way? Well, um, my thinking is, if we think about our window of tolerance, right? We're energetic beings. We're in the flow of where we feel regulated and good.
Yeah.
And if you move, if we become chaotic and dysregulated, one way to feel better is to gain power and control over other people, and that gets us into our window. Yeah. Now, that's not a good way to do that, but for some people, they may have learned, that's where the intergenerational trauma, copying what they've witnessed, about how to operate, get their needs met. And if someone can see that, take accountability, then it's possible to change. But it's all linked to that accountability. Um,
Just as you're speaking, and you mentioned about it being generational,
mhm,
my mind goes to, and this is just an example, just a child seeing, whether it be a male or female, seeing another male or female in their family speaking in a way that is not good or harmful, and absorbing that and seeing, the reaction it gets from other individuals, the power that comes with the tone, the words, and growing up and now operating in that way, maybe unconsciously, because it's something that they saw, not necessarily were taught this is how you need to be, but saw from observation.
yeah,
And
it's normalized.
yeah, it's normalized.
Yeah.
And then the one thing you said that really not necessarily blew me away, but because we are in the field of therapy, and I guess in our training, we are taught in some ways, depending on the lecturer, that we are the people with the capes, that we can save people. So to hear you say that therapy is something that may not necessarily, if that, can help these individuals who are operating or have behaviors within this context, I was just thinking to myself, so what can we use? What can be done?
Well, this is where don't forget, I do most of my work with survivors.
Yes.
So this is where perhaps a forensic psychologist would have a different opinion. And fair enough. And this is where I'm the first to say I do not know everything in this area.
Yeah.
And at all. It's a vast field. Um, and I have had enough clinical experience where I think, most people who come to therapy, there's hope. There's a reason.
So the reason, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I just know that there are some people, very small subset, that they need something else. And I don't know what that is, but I don't think therapy is the answer for everybody. It's hard work. It's hard work.
Oh, it is. It is. No, it is. It definitely is. And I found just through having conversations with individuals like yourself and, watching things and reading case studies, that sometimes when it gets to like, I'll give the analogy or give the visual, like the door fully being open to see everything is when most people begin to retreat.
It makes sense, Calvin, because I think I had heard this quote from a forensic psychologist, actually.
Yeah.
And she was an excellent lecturer, which I can share with you afterwards. But
Yeah.
and if you don't transform your suffering, you transmit it. And I think the people who that's such a profound statement, and I think that applies across the board.
Yeah.
As I think it is in the end about compassion and knowing that to ourselves, but then taking accountability for like, right, yeah, it was hard, but now I've got to change this. It's that is the hard part. Looking at it's painful looking if you've been through stuff and you've reacted and been a certain ways and then being like, oh gosh, I got to change that now. That's not great. That takes you have to be very vulnerable
So vulnerable.
and so honest.
No, it's true. So like, and I think, and you can talk on this as well, is the steps to those things is about literally letting go of the very thing that you've been holding on for so long because it's been a part of your life. So to be vulnerable, to be honest, you ultimately have to slowly release it from your grip.
Yeah. And I often hear, well, who will I be then?
It's different.
Yeah. And part of it, yeah, it's like, who, what will that look like? It's quite, yeah, I'll just say I have massive respect for
Yeah.
the people who come to me and they've had generation after trauma or difficulties, and they have the hard work now of undoing it and doing something different. And it's very hard. And
Yeah.
not life doesn't cut you slack sometimes.
It doesn't at all.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, well, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Give the listeners the difference between transforming and transmitting, please.
Right. Oh, Calvin, you are good with the good. So, okay, so what I would say the difference is the awareness. So, as I mentioned before with the mindfulness, that's where it's so powerful because we can't do anything when we're not aware. Like you said with your example before, yeah, it's normalized. We don't even know that what's happening. We don't know. We haven't looked at it. We haven't seen it. We haven't unpacked it. So the awareness, uh, and then the acceptance, and then the making a skillful decision to do something different. And a skillful decision takes into account what's good for us and what's good for everyone else.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that is a transformation then.
Yeah.
And transmitting, I guess, would be to me continuing on in that automatic pilot, um, unexamined. Uh,
And this is just me free flowing, just based upon your responses, is
Free flow away.
where does a person have to get to in order to say, I want to change this? I don't want to be this way anymore. I've seen how it's affected people in close proximity and people who are in the vicinity. And I don't like the way how I am towards them or with them. I don't like this way anymore. How do I begin to change this?
Calvin, I've worked with many people who have, anger issues or whatever you want to call it. Once people understand the root of it and they're willing to make a change, will it happen overnight? No. But I wouldn't do this job if I didn't think it was possible because this is all neuroplasticity.
Yes.
So it is just just making the commitment and the motivation, and then knowing that it's gonna be a bit messy. You're not gonna it's not gonna be perfect, but if you put that work in, um, you can be you can't people we can grow, we can change, we can evolve. So I guess I'd say it takes commitment and motivation.
Motivation. Okay. What do people need to know about mental health in terms of what it is? How do we maintain it? How do we keep it healthy? What would you say to that?
So what I would say is that a lot of um, when raising children, let's start with that.
Let's start with that one. Yeah.
A lot of people are worried about academics, sports, music, again, that what we talked about, that striving.
Yeah.
And what we neglect in the world today, and with the way the world is set up and about what success is,
Yeah.
that emotional well-being and attunement and connection and empathy and
Mm.
thinking about other people, without that,
Yeah.
uh, those kids are going to hit a brick wall, and they come to see us, and things happen that are, if I could, like, that needs to be the priority for me
Yeah.
over everything else. So that's where I would start with the kids is that care for each other, the care for the community, the care for themselves, care for the family, uh, thinking about not just ourselves, but like the well-being of our communities
Yeah.
and each other, like that. Um, those people go on to be, in my eyes, successful, and they do what they want to do in their lives, no matter what it is. And it's not even
Yeah.
about money. Some of them may be if they care about money, they make the money. If they don't care about the money, they have their happy lives. But
Yeah.
without that, their lives are miserable.
But you've given so many valuable points and so much to take away in terms of, yes, we spoke about coercive control, but in saying that, that has sparked for me personally just to always acknowledge and look at oneself, especially on our path, and seeing, okay, this change that I've made or these changes that I'm making, how valuable are they? Are they beneficial to me first and foremost? And when I bring them outside of the four walls of my home, are they going to be valuable to everyone else that I encounter? So you spoke.
So beautiful.
Well, you sparked that. So thank you. Thank you so much. And also speaking on mental health and speaking about, you know, starting from children, that point for me spoke on, whether it be a family member or if I'm working with children, to make sure that my encounter with them, no matter if it's for a moment, a second, or if it's an actual session, that I make sure that my priority is kindness. My priority is words that are nurturing and things that they can take and, actually use for themselves, because I see children as the seeds, and as they grow, it will continue to blossom and become adults. So whatever they hear from the ground up, ultimately, subconsciously, unconsciously, maybe consciously as well, they're going to take from whoever they see or hear from. And that's not by choice sometimes. Sometimes it's depending on how it's said, or the moment, or the event, or who the person is in that child's life. They're gonna hold on to it for dear life, and we don't know how that's gonna affect them. So that, from hearing you, I've now even more so said to myself, when I do, if it's a family member or whoever, I'm gonna make sure that I continue to speak with grace, speak in a tone that is, calming and nurturing and good, ultimately. So
Calvin, I don't doubt you do that any minute. Uh, I'm not worried, but I do, yeah. It is hard. I do think it's a challenge for us humans. We're not.
yeah, yes, especially with the word more messy. We can be, can't we? We can be messy.
Yeah, so it's like, even if but it's about the repair then, and it's about the, trying our best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that
Um,
repair. I want to ask you just a couple of fun questions just so that listeners can get to know. Is that okay?
sure, of course.
Okay. First question is, if you had to pick a location to work remotely in, where would it be and why?
Oh gosh. Well, that would be my childhood home, which was in Southern California
Yeah.
by the beach. It would just be amazing. That's my safe place. That's my comfort zone. The beach. Um, actually, I don't care about the people. Just the beach. And some animals. We'll put some animals in there, kind of.
Yeah.
And the beach. And if I just have the water and some animals with me, and I'm not saying people aren't allowed, but those are the two, and then those are the two. That would be my happy place, and then I could, yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. What is your favorite season and why?
What is my favorite season? So my favorite season is autumn. And that's because I love that change of like the sun and the cool breeze in the air, the leaves, and the thought of and it just, I don't know, something about it. I just love the colors and I love the little bit of cool air with the sun. Um, and yeah, yeah. Sorry, that's not an exciting.
No, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Last two. Do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote. Yeah, this is again so cheesy,
No.
but still gonna say it. Okay, women of a certain generation, we all loved Oprah Winfrey. So she has a quote that kept me going through some very difficult time, and I actually think I ended up embodying that quote to some degree,
Yeah.
which was, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." I love that quote.
It's a powerful quote.
Yeah.
It's a powerful quote. And my last fun question for you, my dear, is I want you to finish this sentence. So the sentence is, if it wasn't for therapy, I would be.
Right, so my secret dream as a child. If it wasn't for therapy, you mean if I wasn't a therapist?
Yeah, literally, if you wasn't a therapist, yeah.
And by the way, this would be absolutely no way this would happen, but I would be a pop star.
Pop star.
I mean, what a great life. You're singing, you're dancing. I mean, but that, by the way, it also partly horrifies me, so I don't know why I'm saying that, because I hate being the center of attention. Or
Yeah.
no. Yeah, but that seems like such a nice life. You just go around, everyone's like, "Yeah, she's so great," and then, yeah, yeah, seems like a fun life. You get to hang out with people, party. It seems low stress. I don't know.
So we gotta get you to sing one day. Pod.
You don't
No?
want that.
Okay, okay. Oh, Sarah, it's been amazing. Amazing. Um,
Calvin.
Thank you so much for coming onto the pod, and I just, pray just continual success for you and everything that you do. Um, where can people find you? They've heard you today, they want to reach out. What's the best way to contact you?
Probably my website. So it is mendality.com. So I picked is because we're looking at mend, MEND, like to fix, to
Yeah, to fix it.
repair.
Repair.
Mendality, MENDALITY, mendality.com.
mentality.com. Listeners, I have been Calvin Anderson, your host of the Check In with Podcast. We have had Dr. Saira Khan on the pod today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Speak soon. God bless.